How you guys and girls doing today? Simpson918 here, and in this video we are going over a brand new patch we got, 12.11.5. Let's get into it. What's going on, y'all? Like I always say, I appreciate and I love every single one of y'all that stop by and watch these videos. And if you are new to the channel, please make sure to hit those buttons down below, like that like and that sub button, because that way it'll make a brother nut, and more importantly, it'll get the video out to people who need to see it. But with that being said, let's get right into it, y'all. So we just got the brand new update, 12.11.5, and before you get your testicles twisted, it is not a content update, but it is optimizations and performance. I know it sounds pretty boring, but trust me, there are a lot of things in this update that make a huge difference. So we're going to start off, and the full list will be down in the description below, but we're going to start off with optimizations and performance. But first, a message from our sponsor.
Nigga, shut the hell up and eat a cinnamon roll.
Thank you, but let's get right into it, y'all. So the very first thing is they've made adjustments that allowed to reduce the amount of consumed RAM after finishing a raid. They've also changed in-game logic and in-game fonts that allowed reduced memory consumption. They enabled reflex no longer affects performance in the hideout, and there are a couple of more, but another big one is that they added the enabled Hideout Preload option in the game settings. So if the option is enabled, it preloads the hideout for you. If the option is disabled, it'll do what it normally does, which means the hideout will load only when accessed. Disabling this option will reduce the main menu loading time when starting the game and after finishing raids, and the option is disabled by default. So, that's a good one right there. And like I said, the whole list will be down below, but that's a major deal right there, because how many times do you load up the game and then you think, oh, I have to click on the hideout and wait like those 30 to 40 seconds and maybe even longer depending on how much RAM you have. So these changes right here, and the first one I talked about that consumed RAM change, and all these RAM changes are going to make it very smoother and easier to play, especially for those who might have 8 or 16 gigabytes of RAM. We all know how much Tarkov RAM is used when you play the game, and you have to restart the game several times, so that's good right there. They've also done some visual and graphical changes. Nothing too crazy on the graphical side, but they did say that the shadow render distance is increased to 500 meters regardless of shadow quality settings to ensure the correct shading on certain locations. So that right there, it says it's been reworked to optimize performance. So let's just hope that when they mess with the shaders that it didn't negatively affect performance. So those are one of the things right there. But now we're going to get to the gameplay and quality of life changes. Now once again, this list is pretty long, but we're going to only name the main ones. So they've reworked the game logic of the inventory, item moving, and context menus to minimize the number of errors that occurred in the stash. So those errors you get in the stash when you might move something and it keeps blinking, so that way you have to restart the game all over again, or when you would finish customizing a weapon, about to be putting it on your body, and then it would say moving error. They fixed that, so that shouldn't happen as often. They've also made a change to the menu. They've added a 2 menu button to the first post raid screen to skip all the next screens. So that was irritating too, as many screens you had to go through, right? So they added that for us right there. They've also, this is a big one, they've added the maximum single fire rate parameter for all weapons. So what this means now is that there's an actual cap on how fast a gun can shoot on single fire. So they've probably done this to remove those who had macros and who were shooting M1As or RSASs like it was a fully auto weapon. So that one is probably the biggest change for quality of life, and hopefully this actually fixes that. We can't wait to see that in game. We've also got a couple more here. So the AI of all scavs, raiders, and bosses has been moved to a new technology platform that will allow us to expand and increase the complexity of AI-driven unit behavior, and also increase the number of scavs in a single raid in the future. So who knows what this means? This is just a prediction or a guess on what's going to happen in the future, but maybe they'll be able to make them tougher, or I'm going to assume that this means that they're going to make these scavs more complex and allow them to display more PMC-like behavior. They've also completely redesigned the quest system engine. So this will decrease the number of errors in the quest system and will facilitate the creation of more diverse and engaging quest mechanics in the future. So once again, this is just another thing that they did to iterate into the future. So sometimes you'll get bugs on certain quests, and sometimes you'll turn in quests and still not get the rewards for them. So they've probably fixed some bugs, and then moving forward, we're probably going to have better quests. We've got 3 more big ones in this category. So they've optimized the formula of calculating fence reputation penalty when killing scabs while having a high reputation. So that means that, when you had probably 6+ reputation on fence, you'd be able to go into a raid and you would think, oh, it's fine. You can kill as many scabs as you want and it won't affect you that much because you're so high up, it doesn't matter. So now what this means, I'm guessing that there's probably going to be a double, triple penalty, and every single time you kill scabs or you do things you shouldn't do, it's going to get aggressive and it can tank your rep down fast. They've also ensured that changing the quality settings of shadows, textures, and graphic presets, or changing the MIP streaming option, is no longer possible during a raid. So a lot of streamers and YouTubers, what they like to do is, for those who are experienced, you might seen some clips of this. Some streamers would actually be fighting someone and they're around a corner or something and you're only at 50 FOV, and then you could ramp up your FOV in game real quick to get an advantage on the player and see them at a distance you shouldn't be able to from the spot you're standing. So you won't be able to change any more settings in raid now. And last but not least, for gameplay and quality of life changes, the raid session ID in the bottom left corner is now unique to every player. You will no longer be able to tell which server a streamer is currently playing. So that was a big issue for those who are streamers and YouTubers, right, who live stream. So at the very bottom, you could sit there and watch and potentially try to find people, so that's no longer an issue. And they've got a long list of the actual bug fixes that they've gone through, and once again, we're going to go through a couple of the major ones here, and the full list will be in the description below. So one of them is that players will not speed up when holding the sprint key while moving prone. That's a unique one. So I guess all along we were meant to have an option to actually move faster if we were holding shift or whatever your sprint key is when you're prone. Of course, this would probably sacrifice noise, but I never even knew that we were meant to have like a sprint option when being prone. So that is now in the game. The KS-23 shotgun was shooting well below the aiming point, so it seems like they've buffed the KS-23 again. Weapon loading through the chamber was leaving the mag drill skill lower than the supposed value, so that means that they've probably buffed the mag drills, which is good. And another one we had too, I'm so happy I see this in the notes, y'all. Players could freeze on the stationary weapon after using gestures or quick releasing their backpack. That bug when you would like drop your backpack or search something and then you would meant to be bring your gun back up into your hands, but it would just be frozen. I'm so happy that's fixed. And the last one is that the flashlight light would go through obstacles, so that's pretty cool that they fixed that as well. So like I said at the beginning, y'all, this isn't like a super crazy update. There's no major things coming to it like any content or thing like that, but this is a huge quality of life update, and you should definitely have a smoother and better experience when you load up Tarkov now. I'm really happy that they're starting to see these bugs and they're starting to actually fix them, and I'm really happy that we actually got 12.11.5 way faster than I thought we would. Of course, the next update after this is going to be things like the new Unity engine, inertia, and things like that. But if you enjoyed this video, let me know down in the comments below because it jingles my jollies, and I will catch y'all in the next video. Timson918 out of here.